Hey, 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 happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com. Tonight is Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. This is live stream 726. If this is the first time joining me, let me point out this is just a really casual show. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and then taking a look at a tabletop game. So nothing too, mentally heavy lifting there. But do want to mention that tonight I am not only going to be sharing a first look at the 50th anniversary edition of Nuclear War from Flying Buffalo Games, I am also going to be giving away my copy of Dungeons & Dragons Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos from Wizards of the Coast, and this is the alternate art edition. So later on after the news, I am going to reveal who the winner is. Yes, winner, chicken dinner. Although if you've seen my review, you may not want it. What can I tell you? We'll talk about the review a little bit after the news because it's kind of funny. Kind of funny, some of the reaction I've had to it. What can I tell you? If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as tomorrow's review of Rackham Vale. Yes, from Crowbar Creative. So I'll give you a little hint. I liked it better than I did Strixhaven, which may not necessarily be saying much, but I did. So stay tuned for that. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Come on, you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in, and I will do my best to respond. So far, it looks like we've got a good chat off and rocking. So John Vogel is first out of the gate saying hello tonight. Howdy, John. The Motor City Madman. Yes, the Motor City Madman, the madman himself, one of our chat moderators, is with us. Omanal is pointing out that they are here. Says, love if Jeff decided to wear a tuxedo to do a show and say it's casual. I could do that. I don't own a tuxedo. I own a few suits, but I no longer own a tuxedo. Actually, amazingly enough, at one point I did. But that is years and years ago when I was in about my mid-20s. Clint Gibson is here. Says they weren't going to miss Nuclear War. Seems like it's right up their alley. Flaming Huron, our other chat moderator, is with us. Double K Kabuki Kid is in the house. Good to see Double K. My good friend Scott Weigel from high school has joined us. Here's a totally bizarre thing. Just earlier today, I was wondering, hey, how's Scott doing? I haven't seen him pop into chat in a while. No joke. I really was thinking that. And all of a sudden, here's Scott hanging out. His ears must have been burning. Who else we got? I think we are all caught up. Very cool. So let's jump on into the news because I've got a good mix of news tonight. Arriving later this month is Moon Adventure from Oink Games. You heard me right. Oink Games. Here's the deets. Oxygen levels are falling. You're trapped on the moon due to a massive magnetic storm originating from the sun, and all of the supplies have been scattered across the surface of the moon, that is, not the sun. You and your fellow astronauts are desperately trying to recover the scattered supplies, all while your oxygen levels are falling. Moon Adventure is a cooperative board game in which everyone must work together to complete the mission. Trust in your wits and your friends to make it back alive. It's a challenging cooperative game based on Oink Games' worldwide hit, Deep Sea Adventure, selling over 200,000 units. Players work together as a team on a desperate mission to recover supplies on the moon. Will the crew be able to survive the magnetic storms and limited oxygen supply? A group of astronauts were stranded, and their emergency supplies are scattered all over. Faced with rapidly vanishing oxygen, how many times are they going to tell us about this? Hey, by the way, their oxygen is running out. In case you didn't know, from the 3 previous times I've mentioned it, they must pool their strengths together in a mission to gather up the scattered supplies. Each turn, players use, you guessed it, oxygen cards, and roll the dice to receive action points. Make use of actions such as move, gather supplies, develop a route, and activate oxygen generation system in order to replenish oxygen. Explore the surface of the moon, gather up supplies depending on the number of players, and aim to make it back to base unharmed. However, some supplies have been destroyed, and players won't know it until they make their way back to the base. On top of that, the container that holds the supplies and oxygen cards has a maximum capacity of only 5. To make matters worse, if a magnetic storm card appears when replenishing oxygen cards with the OGS will break. There's no time to waste just standing around. If only one player runs out of oxygen, it's game over. Game over, man. Game over. So sharing oxygen cards with each other is an important strategy. Each player is assigned a different role while making use of their special skills, consult strategies with each other, and try to complete the mission. The fast-moving lunar rover might prove useful too. Moon Adventure is for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, plays around 40 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $30 when it arrives at the end of this month. Well, this seems like it could be kind of interesting. I guess it's a Japanese language game originally. In fact, I believe Oink Games is out of Japan. So the English language edition is hitting stores shortly. I like kind of cooperative survival games, a la The Lost Expedition. I'm a big fan of that from Osprey Games. So I kind of dig this. I am not familiar with Deep Sea Operation, even though, according to the promo information here, they sold 200,000 copies. So I think that's also a small footprint kind of game. Kabuki Kid says, yes, they think all of Oink Games are originally in Japanese. And she does like the little lunar rover. I know, I saw that too. I thought that was pretty funny. I liked that one. So Kabuki Kid says, yes, Deep Sea Adventures was a big hit. Not her thing, though. She didn't like it. Wow, 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 wow. So Scott Weigel mentioned that he's been slammed with work, usually doesn't even get to look at his phone until after the stream is done. And just was thinking today they needed to jump on. Yeah, that is weird. It's kind of odd. Boris has joined us in chat as well. Welcome back, Boris. Also arriving at the end of this month is Unmatched Battle of Legends Volume 2 from Mondo Games and Restoration Games. Here's the scoop. In battle, there are no equals. War never changes. Yeah, sorry, different game. Unmatched is a highly asymmetrical miniature fighting game for 2 or 4 players. Each hero is represented by a unique deck designed to evoke their style and legend. Tactical movement and no-luck combat resolution create a unique play experience that rewards expertise. But just when you've mastered one set, new heroes arrive to provide all new matchups. Battle of Legends Volume 2 features 4 heroes: Yenega, Achilles, Sun Wukong, and Bloody Mary. Combat is resolved quickly by comparing attack and defense cards. However, each card's unique effects and a simple but deep timing system lead to interesting decisions each time. The game also features an updated version of the line of sight system for Tannhauser for ranged attacks and area effects. Isn't Tannhauser a miniatures game? I mean, granted, this is a miniatures game. The heroes are represented by minis, but I thought Tannhauser is an actual like skirmish level miniatures game. I might be wrong. Might be completely wrong. The game includes a new battlefield with brand new mechanism, pre-washed miniatures for each hero, and custom life trackers that's brought to life with the stunning artwork of Zoe Van Dilch. Ditch? I don't know. It's Zoe. Thanks for the artwork, Zoe. And the combined design teams of Restoration Games and Mondo Games. Unmatched Legends Volume 2 is for 2 or 4 players, ages 9 and up, plays in 20 to 40 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $39.99 or $40, because I've seen it say $40 on the website and $39.99 from distributors. Yes, I know it's a penny, big deal. But trust me, there will be somebody out there. If the MSRP is $40 and I say $39.99, they're going to be like, oh, you're wrong. Anyway, so it's about $40 when it arrives on December 29th. Believe we're talking the same day that Moon Adventure is coming out as well. So Kevin Smith has joined us. So we've got 2 of our role-playing game reviewers with us tonight. Sammy never pops in for the live show. I think it interferes with work, basically. I think. So we've got both of them. Somebody just snuck in along with Kevin. There we go. Bruno Azevedo. Hiya, Bruno. Welcome aboard. So let's move on to some role-playing game news, because 2 new books for the excellent Gothic horror role-playing game, Vaesen, are up on Kickstarter for Free League Publishing. Here's the skinny. Leave the mythic north and set sail for the mist-shrouded isles of mythic Britain and Ireland. Explore the fog-shrouded streets of London. Discover the secrets of Rose House and the British Society. Discover the islands and walk the moors in search of long-lost tales and ancient remnants. This book provides a new setting for the Emmy-winning Vaesen Nordic horror role-playing, letting you experience Gothic horror mysteries in the lands of Mary Shelley, Arthur Conan Doyle, and Bram Stoker. Shouldn't it be Sir Arthur Conan Doyle? Written by industry legend and my pal, and Emmy winner Graham Davis, and beautifully illustrated by multiple award-winning artists like Johann Egerskranz, the acclaimed cartographer Francesca Berald, and talented portrait artist Anton Vitus. Something to keep in mind. You can also get the alpha PDF of this book before Christmas, right after the Kickstarter ends. But wait, that's not all. This campaign also includes Seasons of Mystery, a book filled with 4 new spine-tingling cases for the game. Written for use in the Mythic North, each mystery also contains advice, so it can be used in Mythic Britain and Ireland as well. These 2 books expand Vossen Nordic horror role-playing to new horizons and will be produced with the same high quality as the original rulebook. Join the society and discover the horrible truth behind the old tales. In Mythic Britain and Ireland, you'll find a complete guide to the supernatural, British Isles and Ireland, including the great city of London, the countryside beyond, and the 4 nations that occupy the islands, England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. The Union, based on conquest and maintained by force when necessary, is fraught with cultural differences and ancient grievances. National and regional differences are further complicated by conflicts between the declining nobility and the rising industrial class, between the wealthy employers and the struggling workers, between the native townsfolk and the new arrivals, and between the mortal and supernatural worlds. In Seasons of Mystery, we present 4 brand new mysteries spanning 4 seasons across the Mythic North. Similar in format and scope to our previous casebook, A Wicked Secret and Other Mysteries, this volume will feature 4 mysteries by 4 different writers. These adventures take place in the setting of the original game, the Mythic North. However, there are notes and guidance provided for running them in Mythic Britain and Ireland as well. There is a short Kickstarter video, it's a little more than a minute. It's going to show off a little more artwork from these books. So let's take a peek. This Kickstarter funded within the first 6 minutes. You can reserve a copy of Mythic Britain and Ireland for a $38 pledge. You can score a copy of Seasons of Mystery for a $33 pledge. Both of those are hardcovers, of course. You can grab both of them together for a $66 pledge, or go digital and get both books in PDF for a $33 pledge through December 22nd. Expected delivery for the physical books is June of next year. There is some discussion about some of the artwork or the art style of Wassen. I was told it was pronounced Wassen, and then I was also told if you want to call it Vasen, that's fine too. Just like Morkborg. The fine folks over at Free League Publishing were finally like, you know what? If people want to call it Morkborg, fine. It's Morkborg. So I thought that was kind of funny. Omenal says that they nailed the American McGee Alice in Wonderland feel through the music and art in that video. Yeah, I was going to say that's a blast from the past, American McGee. The question is, so is the game set in the 1700s or 1800s? It is the 1800s. It is the Victorian age. It is a gothic horror game. I really liked it. I thought the core book was really, really well done. But Bruno has pointed out that they find the art beautiful, but a bit cartoony. I kind of agree. It's got a really unique feel to it. And some of the artwork, not all of it, but some of the artwork feels a bit lighter than the actual tone of the game. So Russell Higgins has joined us in chat. Welcome aboard, Russell. Very nice to see you again. All right. Next up, I'm going to talk about the January releases for Pathfinder from Paizo. These usually take a few minutes, so if you have no interest, this is about the time to go hit the bathroom or grab a sandwich or an adult beverage or what have you. But the new year is around the corner, and Paizo Inc. has plenty of Pathfinder RPG goodness on the near horizon. Here's what I know about the major January 2022 releases. Do want to point out some of these items were slated for December release, but because of shipping issues, they have slipped to January. So first off, we do have Pathfinder Adventure Path 174, Shadows of the Ancients, the finale of the Strength of Thousands Adventure Path. Save the Magambia. The heroes return to the Magambia Magic Academy to find the villain they vanquished on a distant planet had set another scheme in motion long ago. Students and teachers have been twisted by evil magic, and the heroes must engage in legendary tests to gain the means to free them. While a monstrous foe thrashes through the Magambia, it's up to the heroes to save the school from utter destruction. Shadows of the Ancients is a Pathfinder adventure for 4 18th level characters by Safe and Sorry. This adventure concludes the Strength of Thousands Adventure Path, a 6-part monthly campaign in which the heroes rise from humble students to influential teachers and ultimately decide the fate of the Magambia. This adventure provides guidance to tell stories that are like fables or set in truly unusual adventure locations, and concludes with a look at powerful monsters, magic, and abilities that only the mightiest Magambian heroes can claim. Each monthly full-color softcover Pathfinder Adventure Path volume, say that 5 times fast, contains an in-depth adventure scenario, stats for several new monsters, and support articles meant to give game masters additional material to expand their campaign. Pathfinder Adventure Path volumes use the open game license and work with both the Pathfinder RPG and the world's oldest fantasy role-playing game. What could that be? Must be RuneQuest. They must be talking about RuneQuest. This softcover is going to carry an MSRP of $24.99. Then we've got Pathfinder Adventure Path 175, Broken Tusk Moon, Quest for the Frozen Flame, Part 1. Do want to mention this next Pathfinder Adventure Path that's going to kick off in January. I will be reviewing this adventure path, and Sammy's going to wrap up the Strength of Thousands adventure path, and she'll tackle the next Starfinder that's coming out. So we're kind of swapping, because usually I do Starfinder. So next time I get to review the Pathfinder adventure path. For generations, the Broken Tusk following, has roamed their small patch of the realm of the Mammoth Lords in relative peace. Now, to avoid annihilation from a maniacal warhorde, they must flee into the unknown. If the Broken Tusks are to survive their flight, a team of their best scouts will need to chart a safe path through an unforgiving wilderness. Along the way, they'll uncover the mysteries of a powerful artifact that promises to change the course of history. Broken Tusk Moon is a Pathfinder adventure for 4 first-level characters. This adventure begins the quest for the Frozen Flame adventure path. a 3-part monthly campaign in which the heroes lead a band of nomadic hunter-gatherers across a brutal primordial landscape. This adventure also includes a catalog of the character's band, the Broken Tusks. I'm going to play drums. New spells, feats, and items perfect for trappers and foragers, and new prehistoric creatures to befriend or bedevil your players. This softcover will carry an MSRP of $24.99. Then we've got the Pathfinder Alchemy deck. Just as an alchemist's formula book holds the key to crafting alchemical items, the Pathfinder Alchemy deck contains cards for every alchemical item from the Pathfinder Core Rulebook and the Advanced Player's Guide. Each card holds the item's statistics, a description, and a beautiful full-color illustration so you can see every item in your collection. Whether you're a game master building an alchemist stall or a player assembling a formula book, the Alchemy deck keeps your reagents at your fingertips. This will carry an MSRP of $22.99 for the box set. Then we got the Pathfinder spell cards, Secrets of Magic. Master every last incantation with Pathfinder spell cards, Secrets of Magic. This indispensable spellcasting accessory contains over 400 spell reference cards, spanning every magical tradition and focus spell from Secrets of Magic, so you have access to all the game details you need without flipping pages. With Pathfinder spell cards, players of any spellcasting class can easily arrange, plan, and manage their spells, whether they're getting ready for a day of adventuring or facing down a monster. Keep all the wonder and magic of Pathfinder at your fingertips, ready to be unleashed. This box set will carry an MSRP of $54.99. Then we've got the Pathfinder Flip Mat, Enormous Forest. The biggest flip mats in history just got bigger. Introducing Pathfinder Flip Mat, Enormous Forest, a brand new, amazingly giant flip mat, bigger than any Paizo has produced before. Measuring a titanic 30 inches by 46 inches when unfolded, this exciting new map presents a sprawling section of forest on each side. One side dense and primeval, and the other cut through with a shaded road, just perfect for ambushing player characters. Spread this woodland across your tabletop and watch your players' eyes pop out at the enormity of it all. Your player character's biggest problems just got even bigger. On tabletops across the world, the flip mat revolution is changing the way players run their fantasy role-playing games. Why take the time to sketch out ugly scenery on a smudgy plastic mat when dynamic encounters and easy cleanup is just a flip away? It'll carry an MSRP of $24.99. And then finally, we do have the Pathfinder Flip Mat Enormous Basic. Be it a sprawling dungeon, a sinister castle, a haunted forest, a bustling cityscape, or any other locale where adventure and danger might lurk, with Pathfinder Flip Mat Enormous Basic, you have more room than ever before to present your latest creation to your players. This sprawling map measures 30 inches by 46 inches unfolded and is the largest basic flip mat yet. Designed for experienced GMs and novices alike and usable with both dry erase and wet erase markers, Pathfinder flip mats fit perfectly into any game master's arsenal. So grab your markers and get creating your biggest dungeons yet with Pathfinder Flip Mat Enormous Basic. This will also carry an MSRP of $24.99. Do want to mention the release dates for these are in a little bit flux, but I do believe that Paizo is shooting for the last Wednesday in January to have all of these out. So we shall see. We shall see. I am actually interested in this Enormous Basic because, you know me, I'm prepping to run some fantasy role playing, Jeff's own homebrew fantasy role playing game with my nephew and some of his friends. I think my niece is in. Amazingly enough, I think my brother might actually play too. We'll see about that. And I want them to map but I don't want them to map just writing on regular old graph paper. I think they will find it a turnoff. So I'm thinking of using pawns to kind of represent, because I'm not into the whole using minis and stuff like that. I'm more theater of the mind, but I do want them to actually do some mapping because I'm presenting kind of an old school sort of game. So there is discussion about Pathfinder 2nd edition right now. I like Pathfinder 2e, but then again, I also like 5e. 5e's fine. Bruno's asking, is it crunchier than 5e? Oh, yes. Yes. Russell Higgins points out they prefer Dungeon Crawl Classics. I agree. I think Dungeon Crawl Classics is excellent. Tried to get them on board to do some reviews in that just fizzled out. Goodman Games is not interested in doing that. So I'm like, okay. I mean, they were like, yeah, maybe we could send you some PDFs. And I was like, well, I personally don't shoot video with PDFs. And that was the end of that. So let's move on to the last news piece, because now available from Monte Cook Games is the superhero source book, Claim the Sky, for the Cypher system. Here's the dope. When things are at their worst, heroes rise. When menace looms, the best among us don't flee danger. They face it. With might and powers beyond that of mere mortals, they stand before the forces of injustice with confidence. They leap into dark and daunting dangers. They slip the bonds of gravity and soar. They claim the sky itself. In a world that could use a few heroes now more than ever, you can join their ranks. Claim the Sky takes the Cypher system into the realm of superheroes with rules, character options, genre advice, and a complete, ready-to-use setting that makes the most of the superhero genre. Whether creating your own heroes or playing your favorites from comics or movies, Claim the Sky makes you the hero. Inside the book, you'll find dozens of superhero rules and options, including foci, descriptors, and abilities, plus new power shift and power stunt rules, detailed advice for creating speedsters, gadgeteers, elastic heroes, powered armor heroes, heroes who shrink or grow, master martial artists, shape changers, and other superhero archetypes. There are guidelines for building the most popular superhero archetypes from comics and movies. 50 fully statted heroes and villains, complete with powers and personalities. In-depth discussions of common superhero themes, aliens, magic, mutants, time travel, and comic book stories, origin stories, team-ups, superhero bases, secret identities, English, Jeff, and nemesis, along with advice for creating realistic comic book style or far future superhero settings, and even tips for naming super-powered characters. The detailed Boundless setting, plus 3 complete superhero adventures for use in Boundless or your own campaign, are also supplied. Claim the Sky is a setting and supplement for the Cypher system, and it does require the Cypher system rulebook in order to play. This 224-page source book is available in hardcover for $49.99, or you can grab the PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG for $18.99. Yes. Very interesting. Gosh, it's been so long since I looked at the Cypher system. I couldn't even tell you how it operates. If I remember correctly, it's got like tag words kind of describe things in almost like tags. It's not a super crunchy system. I don't recall it being really crunchy. But yeah, I think this is the first time that Monte Cook Games has really put forth a big superhero setting book for their Cypher system. I think they've kind of dabbled in it a little bit in the core book for Cypher system, but they really haven't gone all in. So this could be kind of interesting. I'm also very interested in the Marvel role-playing game that is supposed to come out. I think, if I remember correctly, I think what they're going to do is they're going to have a play test, which you will buy the book, I believe. I don't think the play test is going to be free, but they're going to have a play test, and I think they're going to play test it through the year. So, all right. So there are some discussions going on right now about Dungeon Crawl Classics, Goodman Games' Original Adventures Reincarnated, which is actually, yes, that is a cool series, and Old School Essentials. So Old School Essentials is on board with us for the Old School for the New Year celebration next month. And I think they'll be like maybe the second or third week of the month will be devoted to Old School Essentials, including an interview with Gavin Norman. There's a little bit of discussion at Temple of Elemental Evil. So here's kind of another kind of odd coincidence, coinky dink. Right now, today only, on Amazon.com, you can get the Goodman Games Original Adventures Reincarnated 2-volume set of the Temple of Elemental Evil, which I think clocks in at like 800 pages. So if you are not familiar with the Original Adventures Reincarnated, some of the folks over at Goodman Games have taken old A&D adventures with permission. They have obtained licensing to do this, and they present the original module or modules, and then they like redo it for 5th edition, but they add a bunch to it. So there's Keep on the Borderlands, which I think is called Into the Borderlands, because I think they actually take Search for the Unknown and Keep on the Borderlands and combine it. There is the Lost, isn't it the Lost City? Is that the one where it's kind of the pyramid? It's a classic. There's that one. And the Temple of Elemental Evil is brand new. Anyway, to wrap up my rambling, it's normally $100. I think it's $99.99. Today only, it's 30% off on Amazon. I almost pulled the trigger and I just couldn't do it. Yeah. It's like as much as I wanted to, because I don't have any of the Original Adventures Reincarnated, but I have heard it is really good. And that is actually the campaign that I want to run with my homebrewed, fantasy role-playing game. I want to do Temple of Elemental Evil. So Daniel Silverthorne has joined us. Good to see you, Daniel. Says Temple of Elemental Evil is in their top 3 campaigns. Kabuki Kid points out B1 came with basic sets for a while. Yes, it did. B2 did as well. So I think after a certain point in time, they shifted from Into the Unknown to Keep on the Borderlands. So Omanel says, wow, $64.99 today versus $99.99. I know. And it's a 2-volume set, and it's a slipcase, I think. Just so tempted, but I can't. All right, that was it for the news tonight. Do want to point out, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. So don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, should mention, if you like this video, if you like the channel, if you like thegaminggang.com, which if you don't go there, you're missing out on a lot. If you like what I do, you can always buy me a cup of coffee or some soda over at paypal.me/thegaminggang. And luckily enough, there are quite a few people who utilize those one bookshelf banner ads and have people who, kick in a buck or so, over at the PayPal link. So that's cool too. In fact, Clint Gibson just recently did that. Thank you, Clint. I thanked him yesterday too, but I'll thank him again. So I'm going to jump into a look at nuclear war in just a moment, but did want to point out a couple of things regarding my review of Dungeons and Dragons Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos. I have upset people because I didn't sit there and be like, oh, this is great. Because it's not, it's crap. And I tell people why it's crap. And of course, I'm going to announce who won my copy of the alternate art edition. I mean, some people will like it, but then again, some people's idea of a fun role-playing game is having their game master just info dump on them and tell them to roll dice. To me, that's not role-playing. That's not a role-playing game. I do not tell my players what they're doing. I might tell them what they see, what they smell, what they hear, what they feel. But I'm not like, oh, okay, well, you do, as you walk through the door. Well, we never said we were opening the door. So Flaming Heron says, not enough pointing at the book with zany looking facial expressions, Jeff. I know, right? That's why my thumbnails suck. My thumbnails are like, I don't have like the shocked look or like, oh my gosh, I'm having an orgasm reading this D&D book. Ain't happening. But I had to laugh because there were people last night who were commenting on the review. Oh, you're wrong. This book is awesome. And it's sort of like, really? How would you know? Because it's not out yet. Then you're certainly not a reviewer. I love that. I love the apologists out there. Stop being mean to Dungeons and Dragons, Jeff. There you go. That's a good thumbnail picture. What dopes? It's like, jeez. People are just, well, over at the Dungeons and Dragons channel, they were telling me how excellent this book is. So you must be wrong because they wouldn't have a reason to lie to me. You follow the show, and I'll be done with this in just a second. But if you follow the show, there's been a couple of times that the kind of topic of Hasbro telling Wizards of the Coast that they wanted more D&D content. Well, not saying they wanted, they were saying, you're going to do this. And I had mentioned, I was a little concerned because it's not like they've got a lot of people who are on board full-time working on D&D. I think it's fewer than 10 now. So everything's all, just freelanced. And you can tell this was thrown together. You really can. So definitely check out the review. It's getting a lot of thumbs down, even though you don't get to see the dislikes on YouTube anymore. I will let you know that there it is getting, I think it's running about 10% of the positives are negatives, which is pretty high around here. So Flaming Heron says, like you said, it's no D&D Stranger Things. Yeah, it's not. I mean, you could use it. I mean, there's things you could use from it. It's just, I got a lot of issues with it. And I even mentioned in the review that it reads more like a PDF that would have gotten like 2 or 3 stars over on Dungeon Masters Guild from some third-party content creator than an actual release from Wizards of the Coast. Flaming Heron says, well, it got my thumbs up. Russell Higgins says, those people always say, yeah, I went through Tomb of Horrors and no one died. How could No. Then okay, so if anybody went through Tomb of Horrors, which I personally think is kind of a crappy adventure, but that's, me. It's you can obviously see that it was a tournament adventure. But yeah, anybody's like, "Oh, none of our characters got killed." Well, then you were playing with a dungeon master who is a wimp. Guess you guys were all first level flying on your flying carpet through it all, right? Madman says they've got a friend who's written a couple of things for 5e. He's basically given an outline, so it takes away from some of his creativity. All right, so who's the winner of the alternate art edition of the wonderful, the amazing, that it got published, D&D Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos from Wizards of the Coast? The winner is Moira Jones. I believe that is how the name is pronounced. I'm Irish and I think it's Moira. I know it's not Myra. Moira Jones is the winner. So Flavor says, yeah, who wants to be the winner now? Well, it's free. All you got to do is email Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com from the email address that is connected to your YouTube account. That's the catch. Got to use that email so I can prove it's you, or actually you prove you're you. And we will get this out to you as soon as possible. All right, let's jump on over to take a peek at the 50th anniversary edition of Nuclear War from Flying Buffalo Games. I swear at some point I'm going to say Flying Pig Games. I know it. I can feel it. But it is not from Flying Pig Games or my good pal, Mark H. Walker. No, it is from Flying Buffalo Games. It is designed by Doug Melwicki with artwork provided by Stephen S. Crompton, Gary Freeman, and Brian McCrary. The game is for 2 to 8 players, ages 13 and up, plays in about 30 to 60 minutes. And I got to be honest, I just got this for Black Friday, a Black Friday special from the new folks who are operating Flying Buffalo Games. And when I went to go link to it today, it's not for sale anymore. It's like, stay tuned. It's like, okay. So here we have the 50th anniversary edition of Nuclear War. Scott Weagle, who's hanging out in chat, has played this. I remember, now this isn't we weren't playing the 50th anniversary edition. I don't think the game was 20 years old when we were playing it. But I do remember, I've talked about these like small gaming weekends that they had at this one community center in Oak Park, Illinois. And we went to, I think, 3 of them. And I remember one time it was Scott, it was my best friend, Elliot Miller. And I think there were a couple of other people with us from high school, our friends. And we were playing Nuclear War. And this game is a riot. Now, some people can't stand this game. And I can understand why. Because it is super random. It is not set up where everybody has an equal chance with this. But the game plays so quick and it's just such a, tongue-in-cheek game. I can't see anybody hating it. But I do know of some people who really dislike this game. And it's like, okay, well, it's your loss. The humorous card game with a tongue-in-cheek, there you go, tongue-in-cheek view of international diplomacy, propaganda, and finally, nuclear holocaust. 2 to 8 players engage in touchy negotiations until a warmonger pushes the button. This hilarious card game. See, that's one thing I despise. I hate when, like the blurb is like hilarious. Or for an example, on the D&D book, Rollicking campus adventures. When you see stuff like that, you know that is not going to be the case. It's like, I think this is a fun game. I get a kick out of it. I wouldn't say it's hilarious, though. Then again, a lot of people don't understand the definition of hilarious. Anyway, this card game is easy to learn, fast to play, but watch out. If everyone is wiped out, nobody wins. Scott Weigel says they've got their first edition of Nuclear War still, and there's glow-in-the-dark dies. Lost my got change for $10 million people t-shirt. Oh, that's funny. Yep, got change for those 10 million. All right. So one of the things with this 50th anniversary edition, all the cards are color, whereas that was not the case previously. They were all black and white. I know a lot of them have new artwork as well. I think we've got some new options. There were some various different. All right, there we go for the spinner. I'm going to say there were some various different expansions that came out for this in the past. I don't think any of those are included in this. There we go. Now we got our spinner put together for it. We do have some player sheets here. So that's kind of cool because originally you didn't. You had to kind of lay out your cards in a certain way. So we should have 6 of these, right? We do. Wait, we've got 8, I should say, because it is for up to 8 players. There we go. And then we've got our rules. The rules are very, very simple. Kabuki Kid points out the population cards are proper cards, not just perforated stock, card stock that you tore apart. Yes, I remember that too. Now, as Scott pointed out, he still has his copy of the first edition. I know Elliot Miller, my best friend, has the first edition as well. My brother was with us at Gen Con. This is 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years. And we introduced him to Nuclear War when we were in the board game library. And he got a kick out of it. He thought it was hysterical. Ha! No, he got a kick out of it. He didn't think it was hysterical. But he really liked it. That was one of the reasons why I picked it up, because I'm actually going to bring this as a surprise next time I'm going to play some games with my brother and my nephew. Speaking of which, I actually got to play some games this past weekend. So that was very cool. So super easy rules here. All in all, we've got 4 pages. All right, Bruno's rocking on out. They are watching in Sweden. So thank you very much, Bruno. He said it was fun to catch the stream live. Well, thank you very much for hanging out live with us. Okay, so this is the Warhead deck. So we have warheads, we've got delivery systems, we have population cards. All right, come on. Okay, we got some propaganda cards. So 245 Trioxin says, I hope your brother and nephew don't watch the stream or it won't be much of a surprise. No, they don't. They don't watch it at all. So Kabuki Kid says, yeah, Saturn V rockets used as delivery vehicles. Okay, so here we've got, speaking of, got it right there. So all of these get shuffled together. So this actually makes up, if I remember correctly, I think they all get shuffled together. So essentially what you have to do when you're at peace, you can play these propaganda cards that do different things. And then when you're at war, what you're doing is you're going to have to use a delivery system and a warhead. And you have to have them in the correct order. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. I think it goes delivery system, warhead. And if you have it in the wrong order, then the missiles don't go off. And what you do is you basically just pick from your opponents. Oh, okay, so I'm shooting this at you. Everybody has a certain number of population cards. See, this is one of the things that people don't, not everybody, I mean, some people don't like this game, is because these population cards, you have 25 million, 15 million, 5, 2, 1. So it's not unheard of for people to have, say, 75 million as far as their population, and this is kept secret, and somebody else only has 20 million. And then, of course, these warheads will determine how many millions of people die. It's kind of a twisted game. It's kind of a bizarre, twisted game. So Kabuki Kid says, yes, it's delivery system, then warhead, because you can have more than one warhead per delivery system if it can carry it. So then you have this spinner. So you can either use the spinner. So you could have a dud. You could have a really dirty bomb that the fallout kills more people. Kabuki Kid says mega deaths. Yes. Or if you want, you can roll percentile dice. Or if you want, you could roll 2 6-sided dice if you don't want to be sitting there spinning a spinner, which I have absolutely no use for spinners in games, but I don't mind it here. Just how it is. All right. So let's give you a better look at some of these cards. Just kind of give you an idea. So 100 megatons destroys 25 million people. 50, got 20, got 10. I think 10's the smallest, if I remember right. And then we've got our delivery systems. I think, if I remember right, I think there's like stealth bombers in this. So Kabuki Kid says, yeah, the glow-in-the-dark dice were an option. There we go, the B-70. The Atlas. Polaris. Anti-missile. Then we got top secret cards. We've got a super germ. The result of a blunder in your enemy's germ warfare experiments destroys 25 million of his own people. Without a trace, 25 million of the enemy's population mysteriously vaporized. So I like how we've got the color artwork now. And I think, look at that, no vax for us. Yeah. How appropriate nowadays, huh? What I was going to say, oh, look at that. So I don't remember this. Either a warhead or a delivery system. I think we might actually have a few additional cards in this 50th anniversary edition. I don't think they're full expansions. Like one of the expansions was nuclear escalation, I seem to remember. So those are the cards. There's some info. I think they've got some. Okay, so it contains 3 decks. Or I should say, these 3 decks should contain the following cards. And they tell us all of the cards. Nice. I always have a fun time playing this, even though it has been about 3 years since I played it. This is the sort of game, and of course, I'll do a review of this edition. In fact, if you go to thegaminggang.com, Elliot did a review of Nuclear War about 11, 12 years ago on there. Anyway, I will actually have a review of this 50th anniversary edition in the very near future. Because, as I mentioned, I am going to be bringing this over by my brother's, and I know he'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll play. So, looking forward to that. Let's see. Do I have any plastic bags big enough to put these cards in at the moment? I do not. I know I've got some. I just don't have any here. So, we've got the 8-player boards. We have the very short 4 pages of rules. We've got the 3 different kinds of decks. We've got the spinner as well. And that's what we find when we take everything from the 50th anniversary nuclear war card game out of the box. And once again, as I mentioned, I'll be reviewing this in the very near future. All righty then. That is essentially it for tonight. Kabuki Kid said they already had Nuclear War and all the expansions, but they got the 50th anniversary edition too, mainly for those population cards and the color cards. That was kind of why I got it, even though I didn't have a copy of Nuclear War. I actually went ahead and got this mainly because, yes, it has cards as opposed to just perforated cardstock that you tore apart for the population cards, which are pretty flimsy, and because it was color as well. Okie dokie. So, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody who is watching live, thank you very, very much. If you were hanging out in chat, keeping us company, also appreciate that as well. Of course, I know a lot of people out there don't have a chance to watch live, and I completely get that. So however you watch, live, after the fact, on Memorex, whatever, thank you kindly. It is much appreciated. Of course, I will be back tomorrow. We're going to be taking a first look at Deep Magic for 5th edition from Kobold Press. It's a pretty hefty book. We're going to be diving into this on tomorrow's show. So, Kabuki Kid says they think that you can get the population cards from Flying Buffalo directly now. As I mentioned before, Flying Buffalo has been taken over by a completely new group. So it's not the folks that were even helping out with Rick Loomis, the late, great Rick Loomis, who coined the phrase role-playing game. For some reason, I always have to say that when I mention Rick Loomis, of Tunnels and Trolls fame. But it's a completely new group who's now operating Flying Buffalo. In fact, if you go to their website, and if you used to go at any point in the last 10 years to the Flying Buffalo website, you know it was like, oh my gosh. The 1990s called and said they want their website back. It's totally different now. There's almost nothing in the website right now. So I don't think there's any way for you to order the population cards as a standalone right now. Kabuki Kid, I think this is the second time she's pointed out, rest in peace, Rick Loomis. Yeah, I met Rick quite a few different times. Never did an interview with him, but I chatted with him a little bit. He was always a really nice guy. And funny enough, when I first started the Gaming Gang, I lived out I was in Mesa, Arizona. I was trying to remember what suburb. Ooh, sorry, can't say suburb when I'm talking about Phoenix. They get upset. What city outside of Phoenix I was living in? He was in Scottsdale and never actually had an opportunity to just, do an interview, which kind of weird. Kabuki Kid says, okay, you used to be able to get those population cards. You might again. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying I don't think you can do it right now. All righty. So, as I mentioned, tomorrow we're going to take a look at Deep Magic. And here's hoping each and every one of you out there have plenty of opportunities to enjoy lots of great gaming with your gang. See you tomorrow. Oh, you're still here. Well, while you're kicking it, how about subscribing to the Gaming Gang channel or seeing the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch or finding out what YouTube recommends you check out here at my channel. And of course, don't forget, get your geek on at thegaminggang.com.